IESL Immediate Past President, Engineer Dr. Kamal Laksiri, Past President, Engineer Kosala Kamrudeniya, IESL President-elect, Engineer Ms. Kamala Gunawardana, IESL Vice President, Engineer Prabodha Chinnasena, IESL Vice President, Engineer Samantha Gunawardana, IESL Vice President, Engineer Manjula Samarasinghe, the Honorary Treasury, Engineer Suran Fernando, IESL Honorary Secretary, Engineer Neil Abhisekara, the Chief Executive Officer, Executive Secretary of IESL, Engineer Professor Jagat Manatunga, Session Chair, Engineer Mangala Silva, Council Member representing LPPCC, Engineer Mrs. Sujiva Samaratna, Member representing LPPCC, Engineer Sudharma Alakanda, representing all the presenters, Engineer Musa Balbaki, representing INZE, Engineer Nandana Amunutudava, representing INZE, and I would like to call upon Mr. Malit Kandangara, Head of Marketing and Brand Management of Melma Conglomerate, Mr. Abhishek Arunasalam, Manager Operations, Melvire Rolling Company Private Limited, Mr. Shu Chong, representing MCC, Mr. Chu Yong, representing MCC, Ms. Navoda Vidana Pathirana, Senior Area Manager, Bank of Ceylon, Ms. Tilini Valavage, Senior Manager, Bank of Ceylon, Engineer Rajita Jasinga, representing Suleco Private Limited, Engineer Loshan Palayangoda, representing Forbes Marshall Private Limited, and Engineer Ruan, representing Ultratech Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can step forward, please, to do the honors in lighting this very special lamp. Very much, everyone, and I would like to request you all to come near your respective seating areas and please remain upstanding for the national anthem of Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka,
Thank you very much, everyone. Please be seated. On behalf of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen, to the Iesl Annual Research Symposium 2025. Today, we have gathered here not merely for a conference. It's indeed a celebration of knowledge, discoveries, and innovations. Research is the heartbeat of progress. For a country like Sri Lanka, which is rich in talent, potential, and at the same time culture, research is not a luxury. It is indeed a necessity. It is through research that we can encounter any challenging situation, transform limitations into opportunities, and most importantly, craft solutions that can stand shoulder to shoulder with the global innovations. From sustainable energy to smart infrastructure, from agriculture to innovative technologies, research simply empowers us to strengthen our national economy and at the same time improve the quality of life of our nation, and at the same time ensure that the future generations inherit a nation that can thrive on knowledge and ingenuity. So as we embarked on today's session, ladies and gentlemen, guided by some brilliant minds and thought-provoking presentations and visionary discussions, let us remember that every idea that would be shared here at this gathering is a seed that can simply shape our nation, shape the industries, and at the same time influence policies and redefine Sri Lanka's position in the global stage. So, without further ado, to welcome all of you to this inauguration of the Annual Research Symposium of Iesl, it gives me great pleasure to call upon, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President and the Chairman of the Library Publications, Publicity and the Conferences Committee. Please welcome Engineer Ms. Kamala Gudwardana.
Thank you, Engineer Dushan. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Our chief guest, Engineer Iranga Veeraratne, actually due to special circumstance, he will arrive soon. Formally, I welcome him, but he will be entering this stage forum very soon. Our guest of honor, Engineer Janaka Besingha, Group Chief Executive Officer, Sri Lanka Telecom PLC. Our keynote speaker for today, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, Chairman of the Iesl Annual Research Symposium, Professor Jagat Manatunga, distinguished invitees, our valuable sponsors, dear President, immediate past presidents, and council members, presenters, authors, and fellow engineers. As the Vice President and the Chair of the LPPC Committee of the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this 119th Iesl Annual Research Symposium. As Dushan said, research and development in every sphere of activity are key requirements for the progress of any nation. When it comes to Sri Lanka, particularly in the present context, where rapid economic advancement is an urgent necessity, engineering plays a vital role. As the apex body of engineering professionals in the country, the Iesl has always placed the highest priority on fostering research and innovation. It is with this commitment in our mind, we organize this research symposium, providing a platform for knowledge sharing, collaboration, and the advancement of engineering solutions for national development. This year, we also made a conscious decision to shift the venue of the research symposium from Iesl headquarters to this place. Like, different, but it's not any problem, and it's more comfortable. So we invited to raise the stature of the symposium, positioning it on our par with other leading research forums in the country. We believe this new setup, and it will inspire our researchers to publish many number of high quality research papers in the years to come, while also giving them greater visibility to their work. At the same time, it will help us reach the wider industry and hopefully attract more investors to establish new industries based on your valuable findings. Dear, of course, I prepared this statement for our Deputy Minister. Actually, Engineer Erangavira Ratna, we wanted him to look at especially as the in charge of digital economy of Sri Lanka, as the Iesl, since we have considered most appropriate invitation for the Deputy Minister, we wanted him to advise relevant key organizations with more accessible way for our researchers to get all the support, all the important way forward. We are equally privileged to have with us today Engineer Janaka Besingha, Group Chief Executive Officer, as our guest of honor. We invited you not only as a respected industry leader, but also someone who was with us, working closely with the institution for a long time, including your generous support as the main sponsor for our Techno exhibition. We are deeply aware that our research findings must receive wide publicity and reach the engineering industry effectively. So your presence here today is especially meaningful, as we believe you are the most fitting person to help us achieve this goal. We appreciate your acceptance of this invitation and with your continued commitment to advance in the engineering profession. We are deeply honored to have our engineer Professor Janaka Bandara Ekanayaka as our keynote speaker today at this prestigious event, we invited you with the intention of inspiring and guiding our young researchers and engineers, and we could not think of a more fitting person for this role. Your remarkable academic contributions speak for themselves, with a Google Scholarship Index of 45 and 11,839, almost 12,000 citations, the highest in the field of engineering in Sri Lanka. These achievements stand as a testament to your exceptional scholarship and influence in the global engineering community. Thank you very much for graciously accepting. I appreciate your acceptance of our invitation and for being here today to enlighten and motivate all our participants. I also take this opportunity to welcome Engineer Professor Jagat Manatunga, Chair of the Iesl Annual Research Symposium, and allow me to place on record our sincere appreciation for your dedicated leadership and guidance in steering this symposium. That has been done actually to the highest level of standards. Professor, without your tireless efforts and commitment, this event would not have been possible in the manner we witnessed today. Let me also take this opportunity to welcome our valued sponsors, INSEE Private Limited, Melba Conglomerate Private Limited, Meteorological Corporation of China, MCC, Bank of Ceylon, Sulako Private Limited, Forbes Marshall Private Limited, Altatrek Private Limited, and UR Constructions. Your generous support has made this event possible. Your commitment to strengthening research and innovation in the engineering field is truly commendable, and we greatly appreciate your partnership with the Iesl. I extend a very warm welcome to all the past presidents of the Iesl. You are the true backbone of this institution, and it is because of your vision, guidance, and dedication that the Iesl stands today at the highest level as the apex body of the engineering in the country. Dear council members, your support is the very strength that allows me to stand here today. It would be impossible to properly welcome everyone without acknowledging you. Allow me, therefore, to extend a heartfelt welcome to each of you as well. Dear presenters, authors, I warmly welcome you to this symposium. Your decision to present your valuable research papers at the Iesl Research Symposium demonstrates your commitment to advancing engineering knowledge in our country. I wish you all the very best for your presentations and hope your work inspires meaningful discussions and future innovations. With such distinguished guests, esteemed researchers, and valued supporters among us, I'm confident that this symposium will be a remarkable success. May it serve not only as a platform for sharing knowledge, but also as a catalyst for innovation, collaboration, and the creation of a brighter, scientifically grounded future for Sri Lanka. I appreciate your patience. Of course, will you, or shall I? You will do? Of course, I will wind up my welcome address since our Deputy Minister, Eranga Veeraratna, Engineer Eranga Veeraratna, arrived, everyone witness now. So I will hand over the platform to Dushan, he will do the formal welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ms. Kamala Gunawardena, Vice President and the Chairman of the Library Publications, Publicity and the Conference Committee. And as she clearly mentioned, we have our chief guest gracing the occasion and would like to tender you, sir, a very warm welcome. Engineer Ranga Veeraratna, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Digital Economy. So having said that, ladies and gentlemen, to make the presidential address here at this Research Symposium 2025, would like to call upon Engineer Granny R. Jalath, the President Iesl.
Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Our chief guest, Honorable Deputy Minister, Engineer Ranga Veeraratna, and our guest of honor, Engineer Janaka Abesingha. Thank you very much. Keynote speaker, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, and Chairman Iesl Annual Research Symposium, and Engineer Professor Jagat Manatunga. I really don't intend to go through the same list because the chairman, LPP, went through all the invitees and she really thanked of them. So I simply just mentioning about thank you for the council members and the past president, president-elect, vice presidents, members of the panel of judges, and all those who had come here for presenting the papers. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Welcome for the 119th Annual Research Symposium. We had been used to have this one in our headquarters normally, but this time, as she mentioned, we have moved here, that it has some value-added characters. So I am very much grateful because just to let you know some other points that I really thought to mention about. For this year, we received about 182 abstracts, and out of them, we have selected about 80 reviewed papers to be presented today at several, I think about 4 parallel sessions. We conventionally, though we normally have it at Iesl headquarters, like I mentioned earlier, we decided to have it here so that the Iesl Research Symposium will have an international dimension, international value. So hereafter also we can continue this practice. Iesl Research Symposiums could be continued to be held in venues of this nature. In fact, in the Iesl annual calendar, among other activities, the annual research symposium is the most significant activity. It is internationally known and even viewed today. This annual research symposium really brings international recognition, and also it will be definitely a platform for both engineers, particularly working in the industry, and as well as in the academia. This had also been a forum for publishing most of the final year undergraduate research studies, and also the research studies of postgraduate institutions, and even our industry engineers, those who are following postgraduate courses and master courses. Their research publications also being published normally at Iesl Research Symposium. So Iesl really encouraged, we had several deliberations in past few years, we really encourage evidence-based research, where research outcomes will help to formulate or to develop the country's development policies. In that point of view, that's why we encourage evidence-based research so that the outcomes, as I mentioned, could be considered for writing or to develop the development policies. You know, we have 30,000 members, and among them 18,000 are young associate members. So they have a mammoth responsibility to select research studies that really warrants or related or needed for the development of the country. Yeah, I think we had started a competition to select the best research engineer of the year. I thank you for the panel because the editorial board worked hard, and we have come to a stage, we have finalized all the guidelines to have a competition under the theme Best Research Engineer of the Year. So this similar thing is happening in chapters in Australia also. I found that they are annually doing that one, so we took that lessons here. And this Research Engineer of the Year is focused in the industry and the academia as well. So it's maybe the first time that you may be hearing to select a most outstanding research engineer from the industry. That will encourage, because almost all the young engineers graduate, as I mentioned earlier, 18,000 is a very significant amount. And all the discipline, not like earlier. Earlier, you maybe remember we have about civil, mechanical, electrical, and electronic, only 4. But now, as it is today in 2025, we have 24 disciplines. So in future, even tomorrow, we might get another disciplines get added. So disciplines are split out and very focused, very fine curriculums of 4 years, curriculums had been developed for them. So without taking that much of time, I know that we have lineup of resource persons also to have a deliberation, so speech here, and we need to leave time for the other, about 87 paper presentations and panel of judges. They are having a mammoth duty today. Thank you very much, and I wish the 119th conference a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the President, Iesl. With that note, ladies and gentlemen, it gives us great pleasure to call upon our chief guest to address the gathering, who is a distinguished leader in Sri Lanka's digital transformation, currently serving as the Deputy Minister of Digital Economy, with extensive experience in digital governance, telecommunications, and ICT policy development. He has been instrumental in modernizing Sri Lanka's digital infrastructure and driving technological advancements. Before entering public service, Engineer Ranga held key leadership roles as the Chief Executive Officer and Chief Technology Officer, where he spearheaded innovation and strategic growth in digital technology and services sector. His expertise is backed by a bachelor's in computer science and engineering from the University of Moratuwa, equipping him with a strong foundation in technology and policy making. Honorable Deputy Minister remains dedicated to positioning Sri Lanka as a regional hub for technological innovation, fostering a thriving digital economy through strategic policies, infrastructure development, and digital empowerment initiatives as the Deputy Minister of Digital Economy. Please welcome Engineer Ranga Weeraratne.
Thank you. Good morning to you all. Group CEO of SLT Mobitel, President of Iesl, distinguished council members, respected engineers, researchers, and my dear colleagues. It's a truly honor to stand before this distinguished audience of engineers, researchers, and thought leaders of Iesl Research Symposium. This symposium is more than an academic gathering. It's a celebration of human ingenuity, of relentless inquiry, and of the belief that our best ideas are still ahead of us. Research is not a luxury. It is the very foundation of progress. And in the world we live in today, where digital and engineering transformation is reshaping every aspect of our lives, from healthcare to governance, education to agriculture. Research is the compass that ensures we are not just moving fast, but moving in the right direction. And look around us. Countries like South Korea are investing more than 4% of their GDP in research. And small countries like Israel have invested in research and innovation, and they are pioneering in all the technological and agricultural aspects in the world. Very small country, but how they have moved ahead of the rest of the world is because of their commitment on research and innovation. And even countries like Singapore, where the innovation on right policy making, as well as the governance structure and the programs like Smart Nation have propelled them to be one of the leading number one player in this the technological and economical advancements. So similarly, Sri Lanka also must put a high weight on research and development, because that way only that we can actually propel our country and get it to a much faster development pace where we lagged for some time now. And Sri Lanka, we just don't want to be a consumer of technology anymore. We want to invest on research, we want to invest on innovation, and we want to invest on young startup entrepreneurship. And there are so many tools that the government is bringing up to actually encourage such innovation happening in this country. For example, this year's budget, we have allocated rupees 1 billion under the Ministry of Science and Technology to invest on these new ideas on research and development. And under Professor Gomika Udugampala's guidance, well-renowned researcher from US, this program is very well going ahead, and many projects on research domain are getting now funded out of this grant facility. The other model is about collateral-free loan schemes, because so far, like in Sri Lanka, we lack the development banks. What we have are all commercial banks. So to get funding for all this research to make them commercialize, getting a loan is a very difficult task in the past. But now, the present introduction of collateral-free debt schemes will enable all these research ideas, the innovation that are coming up, to get commercialized. So I request all the researchers to look at the commercialized aspect of all your research, so that the effort and time you put on all this research, the papers coming up, and also the innovation and the IP that is created can actually contribute to the economy of Sri Lanka. Then from my ministry, like we are going to bring about a fund of fund mechanism, where we want the international investors to come and invest in the companies in Sri Lanka. So to encourage that, government will establish a fund of fund, where the government will put a matching funding for any company or any startup that can secure funding from an international investor, international or domestic investor. We are creating that because we want our startups, our innovation, not to move out of the country, because we are having a huge brain drain for all the past decades, which we want to stop. Other than the brain drain, we are having even the IP drain. All this innovation, the startups, entrepreneurship, the new companies that are coming up in Sri Lanka, to create IP in Sri Lanka are unfortunately moving out of the country because of the lack of proper access to capital, and also the hand-holding to get these small companies to grow big. So the current problem in Sri Lanka is startups exit early. So a company who was creating a new product, new idea, and innovation in Sri Lanka exit at maybe $100,000 or $1 million investment, and they are moving out of and establishing their headquarters in Singapore, Dubai, and other countries, and we lose them. Because of that, the real value creation is not happening in the country. Therefore, we want to bring investors to Sri Lanka and ask them to invest in companies in Sri Lanka to retain our innovation within the country. And of course, they may exit at some point in time, but it won't be in the first seed capital round. It will be maybe a Series B or Series C kind of round of investments. We can take an example like WSO2 started as a very small company and exited at $600 million as a $600 million company. But unfortunately, even WSO2, the headquarters have been moved to US by that time. Therefore, much of the money came to US than Sri Lanka, of course. But if we have companies here, like headquarters retained here, a company that would exit at $1 million today may exit maybe $10 million or $20 million valuation in 2 or 3 years down the line. A good example is Nsinga. Nsinga, they were valued at, their revenues was when they were exiting only $1 million, and they exited at $16 million. So 16 times of multiples. So that's how we can actually bring in foreign currency to Sri Lanka, not just by exports, but at the same time, even the tech exits can bring big value to countries. For example, if I take Israel, the exits coming from these innovations are bringing more than 10 billion a year. It's huge. Like if I only talk about IT sector in Sri Lanka, it's like almost 7 times of all our total IT service exports. So having this innovation within the country is something that this government is much serious about, and we want to bring in the right policies as well as the support mechanisms and also the facilitation for the companies and all this research to flourish within Sri Lanka. And also AI, the industrial revolution is not just coming, but it's already here. Like through technologies like AI, the whole industry, all the industries are getting impacted, getting reformed, getting changed, and even our day-to-day lives, our jobs all are getting changed because of AI. So how Sri Lanka, a small country without having much infrastructure on AI kind of data center or cloud facilities, can really embrace this technology and then get our people and our researchers, including the general public, start using this AI kind of technology is something that we are working on. We are talking to multiple different cloud platform providers, hyperscale providers, to come and set up AI data centers in Sri Lanka, because we want to let all the researchers have access to this highly critical infrastructure to speed up their research capabilities, come up with new solutions using AI, because AI is the future. AI is not just machine thinking better, but it's human actually think better using AI. So even the small shop owner, somewhere in a village, should be able to have access to this AI using cloud services and having good high speed broadband, be able to get support from AI to increase their productivity, and also access to the latest knowledge and information. So symposiums like this actually pave the way to get all the stakeholders in this research domain come into a common platform to talk about and drive innovation that is happening in Sri Lanka. Policymakers, academia, thought leaders, researchers, engineers, students, and even general public can come to this platform to see like how we can actually create innovation, because doing the same old manual work or the standard businesses are not going to develop Sri Lanka in the rapid pace. We have to innovate. We have to go for a production economy. To get there, we have to put much focus on research and innovation, and that's this government is highly putting weight and our support into that. So thank you IESL for arranging this symposium, and I wish you all the best for all the researchers, and I request all the researchers to look at how you can monetize all the innovation and the ideas that you have brought up in all these research and research papers, and see just not to forget what you have done, but also go the next mile of making those research into a commercial product or a service. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Iranga Veeraratne, the Honorable Deputy Minister of Digital Economy. And next we have our guest of honor addressing the gathering, the Group Chief Executive Officer, Sri Lanka Telecom, who oversees the strategic direction, operations, and the overall performance of the organization, ensuring its continued growth and success in the telecommunication industry. Began his career at SLT in 1991, having graduated from the University of Moratuwa and received a first-class honors degree in electronics and telecommunications engineering. Before taking up the mantle of the group CEO, he served as a Chief Executive Officer, Chief Enterprise and Wholesale Officer, and leading the enterprise and wholesale business of SLT that provides integrated voice and data solutions to enterprises and government institutions. He previously held the position of General Manager, Enterprise and International Sales, and has extensive experience in the areas of enterprise digital services, enterprise communication solutions, data communications, business development, domestic and international switching operations, and global wholesale voice and data business. A Fulbright scholar who earned the master's degree in electrical and computer engineering from the University of Kansas in the US, and a chartered engineer, a member of the Iesl and member of the Computer Society of Sri Lanka. Has also served on many boards, including the board of the Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology, SLINTech, as a non-executive director. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Engineer Janaka R. Abesega addressing the gathering.
Good morning. Honorable Engineer Iranga Veeraratne, Deputy Minister of Digital Economy, Engineer Granny Jayalath, President IESL, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, keynote speaker for today, Professor Jagat Manatunga, Conference Chair, all past presidents of IESL, council members of IESL, distinguished invitees, members of the engineering fraternity, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and a privilege to join you this morning as guest of honor at the annual Research Symposium 2025 of the Institution of Engineers, Sri Lanka, a forum which for decades has been the forefront of engineering research and innovation in the country. Today's gathering bridges theory and practice. It is a celebration of intellect, creativity, and determination that drives Sri Lanka's progress. Engineering research is the link between innovation and the advancement of society. It's the backbone of the way society and economy are evolving and a springboard for competing on the world stage. In a world where technology cycles are measured in months, not years, The ability to generate new knowledge, translate it into practical solutions, and scale it for societal benefit is what I believe will define Sri Lanka's future. It is a reason why forums such as this research symposium is indispensable to connect innovative thinking with opportunity and transform research into tangible outcomes. The boldest ideas come to life when academia, industry, and professional bodies like Iesl work in synergy. Iesl has long been an anchor between these worlds. Conducting research should not confine to laboratories or journals, but should find its way into infrastructure, systems, and services touching people's lives. At SLT Mobitel, we have experienced the power of such collaboration. Partnerships with universities and research institutes have led to pioneering work in next-generation digital solutions. With the objective of finding innovative ideas and disruptive technologies based on IoT, we host the IESL and the University of Moratu annual SLIoT Challenge. We have partnered with the University of Colombo, Waimbur University, and Uva University for research on blue carbon ecosystems. Our own SLT Mobitel Nebula Institute of Technology trains beyond theoretical knowledge. SLT Mobitel was the first in South Asia to trial mobile 5G and conduct pre-commercial 5G trials in Sri Lanka that redefined connectivity. We have also pioneered some smart infrastructure projects that integrate sustainability with cutting-edge technology. These are not isolated corporate initiatives. They are part of SLT Mobitel's broader national efforts to position Sri Lanka as a hub for innovation in South Asia, an effort in which every engineer, researcher, and policymaker here today has a role to play. As engineers, we are trained to solve problems, but the challenges faced today, such as climate change, urbanization, energy transition, digital inclusion, demand solutions that are technically sound, sustainable, inclusive, and future-proof. We need to embed sustainability into the innovation agenda. We need to deploy green technologies and support various smart initiatives. We must ensure that progress does not come at the expense of the planet. We must also believe in nurturing the next generation of engineering talent. Through support for startups, hackathons, and skill development programs, we must aim to create an ecosystem where young innovators thrive and their ideas move from concept to commercial reality. Engineering excellence is not confined to knowledge, but it relies on the wisdom of application and the ability to offer tangible outcomes. A brilliant design that never leaves the drawing board or a breakthrough algorithm failing to reach the market is a missed opportunity for society. I urge all of us, whether in academia, industry, or government, to focus on accelerating the journey from research to reality. Let us ensure that the research work presented does not end here, but continue as pilot projects, commercial ventures, and industry vertical solutions to improve lives. In the years to come, the role of engineers is set to grow in importance. We will be called upon to design resilient infrastructure in the face of climate extremes, build digital platforms to connect every citizen, and develop clean energy systems that are reliable and affordable to all citizens. Meeting these challenges requires bold thinking, cross-sector collaboration, and strong commitment to aligning research with national priorities. It also requires to break down silos, to share knowledge openly, and to see ourselves not just as engineers, but as nation builders. In closing, I wish to commend the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka for its leadership in sustaining this research symposium as the country's premier platform for multidisciplinary engineering research. I also congratulate all the researchers whose work is showcased today. Your dedication is an inspiration. I urge you all to leave here with renewed purpose of harnessing our collective expertise to innovate with integrity and ensure every breakthrough that we achieve will move Sri Lanka closer to a future of prosperity, sustainability, and global relevance. I wish the Research Symposium 2025 every success. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Engineer Janaka Besinga, the Group Chief Executive Officer, Sri Lanka Telecom. With that note, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the keynote address. Professor Janaka Bandara Ekanayaka obtained the Bachelor's Engineering First Class Honours from the University of Peradeniya in 1990 and PhD from the University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, UK in 1995. Has published over 100 referred journal papers and 100 conference papers and co-authored 7 books. He has a Google Scholar H index of 57 with over 17,000 citations and the highest for engineering here in Sri Lanka. He has held research grants in Sri Lanka and the UK that total 2 million sterling pounds. An article published by researchers from the Stanford University in 2020 ranked him among the top 2% of the researchers in the world, second in Sri Lanka. He obtained the CVCD Excellence Awards in 2018 and NSF Research Award for Scientific Excellence in 2018 and 7 Presidential Awards for Research. Professor Ekanayaka is a fellow of IEEE USA, IET UK and IESL. He is also recognized as an IEEE PES Distinguished Lecturer. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka.
Thanks for the introduction. Good morning, everybody. The Deputy Minister, Group CEO of SLT, President IESL, and other distinguished members. Thank you very much for inviting me to deliver the keynote address today. So I'll be talking about engineering green energy solution for sustainable economic transformation. So basically, the topics that I'm going to cover is sustainability, some of the barriers, and possible solution, and I'll draw some conclusions. If you look at the 1980s to 2016, there is an unprecedented growth in energy use, mainly governed by the rapid industrialization in China and the way people start using energy. But also you can see that the blue bit, which is the renewable energy, was the primary source of energy centuries ago, has become a minor component in our energy use. This is the total energy use by the world. What we wanted to see in the future, not to go further increase of our total demand, but to increase the blue bit, which is the green energy. Unfortunately, the diagram that I pitched, it came in blue, not in green, so it is the renewable part of the energy. So in order to achieve this, of course, we need to think about marked increase in the energy efficiency, the rise of electrification, but taking down the other energy usages, and the growing use of renewables. Now, if you look at the climate, So if you look at the United Nations Climate Action Outlook, it's basically saying that the 4.2 trillion annual savings will be there due to the reduced pollution by renewables. 85% decrease in cost of electricity due to solar energy use. 99% of world's population breathing polluted air today will be reduced, and the 30 million new jobs. So this is the outlook. Now, of course, we also see that the prices of electricity in Sri Lanka has not going down, even though we are keep on increasing renewable portion. Now, obviously, what we wanted to see is the increase in our economic activities while giving benefits for environment, while giving the benefits for the environment, as well as increasing the social benefits by having these renewable or the other green energy solutions. Having said that, there are barriers to achieve this, and let's look at some of the barriers. I'm sure you all are using these kind of Gen AI tools, as the Deputy Minister very correctly said. This is what we are aiming for every citizen to be aware of using Gen AI tools. But have we ever thought about the energy usage of these Gen AI tools? Remember, these are using large language models, so you need to store large amount of data strings, and that is unprecedentedly increasing our energy demands. Now you can see that the energy centers having like 2,552 megawatt of energy is, a generation is consumed by data centers in some part of US. And you can see similar figures in other data centers. This is equivalent to charging 400,000 electric vehicles. So each hyperscale data center consumes around 100 megawatt. So having more and more data means having more and more data centers, we are going to have increase in the energy demand for these data centers. So it is forecasted that the energy consumption or the power consumption of these data centers will be doubled between 2022 and 2026. And it's going to go on because, as you can see, these Gen AI tools, every day you see a new one come in, so the new version of these GPTs. So we need to keep that in mind while we are increasing our generation capacities. Similarly, in Sri Lanka, if you go out, you will see now more and more electric vehicles, which used to be very less, but thousands and thousands of BYDs on the road, and I have seen few Audis. Definitely there are more. Now these electric vehicles sales are also increasing worldwide. And as you know that in Europe, beyond 2030, they are trying to scrap IC engines. So that's going to be another burden to our electrical infrastructure. As predicted by IEA, we are going to consume around 700 terawatt hours of energy by 2030 for charging these electrical vehicles only. Remember, our total consumption today is around 20 terawatt hours. So this is huge amount of energy required by the electric vehicles. So what are the solutions we have to overcome or the supply these unprecedented demands, that like the data, data centers, maybe like 10 years ago, we only had few data centers. When Gen AI tools becomes more and more prominent and more used by our communities, the number of data centers start increasing. Electric vehicle, again, 10 years ago, only you would have found few, but they are coming up in large numbers. So we need to supply this demand in other ways. Remember, this is on top of the existing growth in our demand. So one of the solution, or the green solution to achieve this large increase in demand, is renewable energy. As we know, the wind turbines becoming bigger and bigger. You can just see the largest aircraft compared to the largest offshore wind turbine. So they are huge today. Each can produce up to 15 megawatt of energy for capacity. So that's one solution. Of course, Sri Lanka, we have only harnessed very little wind power. That's only onshore. We have not touched our offshore resources. So there is a huge potential for us to put renewables on our system. This is an onshore the platform. This is my memory. This is the onshore wind turbine between Northern Ireland and UK, and these platforms are now they are becoming common in the world. And even though the crystalline silicon captured more than 80% of the solar market, there are many other developments, many other innovations of solar. For example, the perovskite is now coming up as a new material to produce solar, and everybody is researching on different types of solar technologies. As you can see, the multi-junction PV cells, which are having efficiency of closer to 50%, is basically has a prism on top of the solar panel, and the prism breaks the solar rays into different wavelength. And the very first wavelength is captured by gallium indium phosphate layer, and the second wavelength is captured by gallium arsenic layer, and the final one is captured by germanium, providing the highest efficiency that you can get from solar. So these systems are becoming more and more prominent today. Of course, you can go to the NREL site to see what is happening in the solar industry. As you can see, the multi-junction solar cells has reached efficiencies of 47%, whereas silicon, which is what we use everywhere, has having efficiencies closer to 25%. You can also see the perovskite, which is the new one, has reached the same efficiencies as silicon within very few years. Only problem they are facing is in order to stabilize these solar cells, they use lead. And lead is not allowed in many parts of the world. So that is the only the reason why they are not commercially available everywhere. The energy storage, all kind of, remember, we will require energy storage if we are going to go high, if you are going to use renewable energy in large proportions. So today we have all kind of energy storage, and hydrogen becomes one of the key competitor. I'm sure in few years' time their prices will come down and they will supplement the renewable energy. I can give you one example. This is a site in Japan. My Japanese is not good, so it sounds like Rikasho, but I don't know how to pronounce it properly. So it's a 51 megawatt wind farm supported by 34 megawatt of sodium sulfur batteries. Now that is like 2/3 of the capacity of the wind turbine, they have batteries. Now if you have that kind of batteries, you can do anything. Now what you are seeing here is, if you look at the crosses, sorry, the blue small line, that is the dispatch order. This is a real diagram. I got it from professor in Tokyo University. And you can see the yellow lines are the wind power outputs, and in order to match the dispatch order, the crosses are the output, actual output power. You charge the sodium sulfur batteries so you can exactly match your dispatch power. Whenever you have less energy, you can discharge your battery and supply. So if you have battery energy storage, of course we can you get the maximum usage of our renewable energy fleet. Same in this diagram again from Japan. You can see that on that particular day, around 12 noon, they had quite a lot of solar, excess solar, and this excess solar is stored using the pump storage hydros and batteries. Only very little is curtailed, and of course then you can use them in the rest of the day. So hoping the prices and the technology, prices will come down and technologies will improve, renewable energy can of course supply virtually 100% of our requirement, because remember, now we are having inverter technologies which are having the capability of forming grids. So all we need is to go with smaller grids. The next, whatever the innovations that I would like to discuss is the DC grids. Remember, if Edison has won against Tesla centuries ago, we wouldn't have AC, we would have DC. But unfortunately today everything is AC. Now AC has its own issues. Now most of these things that I have crossed in this diagram will not be there if you fed our laptops with a DC power supply. Now remember, solar is DC. What we do? We convert that DC into AC, conversion losses, and then convert back into DC to be used inside the laptop, or used inside these LED lamps, or used in the new inverter-driven ACs. So we can get rid of many things. As you can see, the power factor control, the concept of power factor is not there in DC. So you don't need power factor control. Lots of the components will be removed and the efficiencies will increase. Again, I'm showing you another device. This is, of course, if you use DC instead of AC to power up your laptop, according to Fraunhofer, 5% efficiency can be gained. And this is a modern air conditioner using an inverter-driven air conditioner, and you can see that there is the shaded area will not be required if you are using DC. You can straight away feed the inverter DC bus. So in fact, we did some research, and also you can see in modern, in solar energy, if your solar inverters are working closer to their rated outputs, efficiencies are good, but in the early morning and the late evening, they are operating at very low outputs and their efficiencies are really bad. So why we need inverters? So we did some research a long time ago, and also the data centers, sorry. Data centers, you can see that the IT equipment, 40 to 50% are AC input, but internally converted to DC. Cooling systems, again AC powered motors and compressors, but can be easily replaced by brushless DC motors. The power distribution and conversion, there are AC inputs, but in converted to DC, and lighting, of course, today LED lights, they are internally DC. So you can get rid of a lot more components as well as increase the efficiency and providing or the reducing the burden on our electricity grid. So this is a system we developed. We, in fact, practically implemented this system, and we were trying to look for a place to implement this, or a prototype to be implemented. But the place we were looking at was a bank. The reason is, banks are operating in the daytime where we have maximum solar, and in modern banks, they don't use outside lights. They mainly use their own, like as this building. You can see that we are using air conditioners and the artificial lights, same in banks. So everything is DC, and they are using computer equipment. So the bank is kind of 100% can run on DC. So that was our idea. We did some case studies with the support of Sustainable Energy Authority. However, we couldn't find a bank to support us to try one of these. So that's somewhere we can really reduce our energy consumption. One of the other things which is now talking about everywhere for achieving this greener future is the smart grid. Remember, it's not one thing. The smart grid is basically a collection of technologies. We have our network layer, which has been there for several decades. On top of that, we can put our power electronics to provide the muscles for some of these activities happening in our power network. On top of that, we can introduce the renewable energy and storage. Then we can have lots of sensors, these starting with smart meters to the modern phasor measurement units. Then there should be an ICT layer for these devices to talk together. So we have different protocols developed all over the world for different communications. Then we will have distribution automation to automatically control some of our distribution assets. And of course, we need a modern control center. Of course, in Sri Lanka, we have that end and this end, not much in between. Okay? So we can't really use that modern control center CB is having because we don't have the middle bits. So this, if you have this collection of technologies, of course we can do, you can even operate our power system using 100% renewables. But of course you need to do step by step. You can't add 100% renewables and then think about how to make our system modern or something. I mean, that's probably one of the mistakes we did. So the smart grid will enable real-time visualization of the power system. This is one of the key things. Remember, the solar power generated at homes will not be seen by the grid. So how can grid plan? If they can't see how much energy or how much power generated by the decentralized generation assets. Support enhancement of power system security, relieve system bottlenecks, enable self-heating systems, and enable connectivity to the consumers. I just give one example of a smart grid application. Now, those who did electrical engineering, I can see the Professor Lucas is there. This is one of the very common equation, P equal to V1, V2 over X sine delta. But you can add on parallel to that HVDC line, and also you can manipulate every single quantities in that equation to change your power flow. There are power electronic equipment to change every single component in that equation. Now this is adding this, the HVDC line is a good example, because remember, DC becomes cheaper against AC if you use submarine cables of greater than 50 kilometers, or if you use overhead lines greater than 700 kilometers. So you can see the break-even point, 800 kilometer overhead lines. The reason is, of course, DC need only 2 conductors, whereas AC need 3 conductors. And AC has other issues, such as corona and so on, but whereas DC doesn't have reactive power, so there are no issues as you find in AC. So one of the good example of paralleling a DC network with AC network is the connection between the Petersburg and San Francisco put up by Siemens. It's a 400 megawatt plus or minus 200 kV system. As you can see on the top right hand side figure, the congestions in that area, the San Francisco area is huge. So they can't even put any single AC network to support the power flows. So what they did was they used the Great Lake and put a HVDC line parallel to the AC lines. And you can see what happened to the congestion on the area after you put up the DC network. It can support so this is I just showing you one example due to the time constraints. So you can find similar 1001 examples of usage of different technologies of smart grid. And I think what we need, of course we are late, but even we can still work on it, to have a very clear smart grid roadmap, where to start and how to go, while we adding more and more renewables onto our system. Rejecting renewable may not be the future. We need to absorb renewable, but absorb in a way that the system will not have security issues, reliability issues, and more importantly, as you can see from my concluding slide, there is always this so-called energy trilemma. Now, today, the decentralization is the key. Every country is looking at smaller generation plant. The reason is they are quicker to put up, and renewables will be the better choice for decentralized asset. Decarbonization is our agenda, but as I just showed, the decarbonize, when you try to do decarbonize, the cost of electricity may go up and the reliability may come down. So how to make sure that we address this energy trilemma while decarbonizing our network, which has to be done carefully and well-planned manner. This is what we really require. And of course, the digitization, as everybody recognized today, will be part and partial of any system, so equally in electrical energy systems. And something we are not at all considering in our part of the world is the democratization, empowering the consumers. Right now, of course, we have not empowered, but consumers themselves has got their off-grid inverters against CB has never advocate offshore inverters, but whenever there was power cuts, people start getting. So they are having their own generation at home, but that's not planned. CB doesn't know much about them. So we need to empower our consumers in a more planned manner. So with that note, I will end my presentation. I don't think there's a Q&A session, but I wanted to show some beautiful pictures from Peradeniya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, for that very thorough, impressive keynote address. So before we move on with the rest of the proceedings, ladies and gentlemen, a special message sent by our main sponsor, Melva.
From the heart of Sri Lanka to the world, Melva Conglomerate, the nation's largest steel manufacturer, is making history. For the first time ever, 15,000 metric tons of Sri Lankan reinforcement steel, crafted to meet Canadian standards, has been shipped to power Canada's construction industry. This milestone marks a giant leap, expanding Sri Lanka's global footprint and reinforcing our reputation for quality, scale, and reliability. More than an export, this is a statement, a showcase of Sri Lankan skill, innovation, and industrial strength, earning vital foreign exchange and driving national growth. Today, we sail into Canadian waters, carrying not just steel, but the pride of an entire nation. Melva Conglomerate, building progress, bridging worlds.
Thank you very much to our main sponsor, Melva Conglomerate, and to all the other well-wishers and everyone who contributed towards the grand success of the IESL Annual Research Symposium 2025. And now I would like to call upon our session chair, Professor Jagat Manatunga, to take us through the nitty-gritties of the Research Symposium. He's a distinguished academic in environmental engineering, currently serving as the Dean of the Department of Civil Engineering at the University of Moratuwa, earned his bachelor's in civil engineering with first-class honors from the same university in December 1993, followed by master's and DICE from Imperial College London in 1995, and PhD in biological and environmental sciences from Saitama University, Japan in 1999. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor Jagat Manatunga.
Thank you. Good morning. Engineer Eranda Veeraratna, Honorable Deputy Minister of Digital Economy, Chief Guest of this event, Engineer Janaka Abesinghe, Group CEO of SLT, Guest of Honor of this event, Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, the keynote speaker, President of the Iesl, Engineer Granny Jayalat, President-elect, Engineer Kosala Kambaradeniya, all the past presidents, Chair of the Library and Publication Committee, Engineer Kamala Gunawardena, Council members of the Iesl, present and past, my dear academic colleagues and fellow engineers, ladies and gentlemen. It's both an honor and privilege to address you here today as the editor and the chair of this annual sessions, 119th, which started in 1906, 119 long years. Standing before this gathering of some of the brightest minds in our profession, engineers, I'm reminded of the words of Theodore von Karman. Scientists discover the world that exists. Engineers create the world that never was. Indeed,
The progress of engineering is a continuum, built upon the wisdom of our predecessors, strengthened by the practice of today, and propelled by the vision for tomorrow. This year's annual sessions provide an invaluable platform for that continuum to flourish further. We have called technical papers under two broad categories. One, engineering theory and research, where academics' rigor illuminates new horizons of knowledge. And two, engineering practice, design, projects, and techniques, where the ingenuity of engineers transforms theory into tangible solutions. But, ladies and gentlemen, the true value of these papers lies not merely in publication, but in their contribution to advancing the profession of engineering. Each paper, whether deeply theoretical or grounded in practice, must serve a larger purpose: to improve lives, to build resilient societies, and to inspire innovation that addresses the challenge of our nation and beyond. Be strongly encouraged right from the beginning practical insights, because theory without application risks remaining an elegant abstraction. At the same time, we welcome research that ventures boldly into unexplored domains, because practice without innovation risks becoming stagnant. Together, theory and practice form the twin engines that drive our profession forward. In reviewing the submissions this year, one observation stands out. Our engineers are not content with merely solving yesterday's problems. They are grappling with today's realities: urbanization, climate change, resource constraints, and of course, digital transformation. And they are probing into new frontiers of engineering activity, today and tomorrow. These efforts reflect the very essence of engineering: to anticipate, to adapt, and to advance. Let me emphasize again, every paper, every project presented here is more than a technical exercise. It is a testament to the creativity of our own engineers, a spirit that questions the status quo, that dares to innovate, and that ultimately seeks to create a better tomorrow for us all. I take this opportunity to thank all the authors for their dedication, the reviewers for their rigor, and the organizing committee for their tireless commitment, led by engineer Kamala Gunawardena, supported by a team of engineers from the Library and Publications Committee, and I have to mention the help that we got from Chamila and Kapila. It is through such collective effort, a close community, that organized these annual sessions this time. These have become a beacon of professional excellence and a highlight of the Iesl's annual calendar. As we inaugurate these sessions, let us remind ourselves that engineering is not simply about machines, structures, or systems. It is all about people. Engineering and engineers have to serve the society with a lot of empathy. Engineering is about science, skill, and imagination to serve humanity. The papers we will witness today and we will discuss here must therefore not only contribute to engineering knowledge, but also embody the highest ideals of profession: integrity, responsibility, and the obligation to serve the society. I conclude with a call for all of us, those are gathered here. Let us embrace this opportunity not only to share knowledge and experience, but to share the will to shape the future of engineering in Sri Lanka. Let us echo beyond these sessions, making a difference in lives of the communities that we serve. We have 5 parallel sessions soon after the tea break. Please proceed to the session that your paper is presented, and for the general audience, to the session that you are most interested in. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a great day ahead today. Happy deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Jagat Manatunga. I would like to call upon now, without further ado, the President IESL, Engineer Granny R. Jayalat, along with the Vice President and the Chairperson of the Library Publications, Publicity and Conferences Committee, Engineer Ms. Kamala Gunawardana, on stage, please, as we are ready to present some very special tokens of appreciation now. And the first token of appreciation being presented to our chief guest. Please welcome Engineer Iranga Veeraratne, Honorable Deputy Minister of Digital Economy. Everybody give it for our chief guest, Engineer Iranga Veeraratne, Honorable Deputy Minister of Digital Economy. And then to our guest of honor, Group Chief Executive Officer, Sri Lanka Telecom. Please welcome Engineer Janaka R. Abesingha. Thank you very much, Engineer Janaka R. Abesingha. And then to our keynote speaker, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka. Thank you very much, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka. Thank you very much, the presentation party. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to wrap up the inauguration ceremony of the Research Symposium, leading you all for your deliberations. But before we do so, to express our extreme gratitude for everyone who contributed towards the grand success of this gathering, please welcome President-elect IESL, Engineer Kosala Kamrudeniya.
Thank you, Dushan. Very good morning to all of you. I'm privileged to say thank you to all of you who gathered here, and also those who helped and contributed to make this 119th Research Symposium successful. As our chair of LPPC mentioned, IESL this year has made a conscious decision to give more priority, prominence to research and development and innovation. We are happy, as we heard today, as our Honorable Deputy Minister mentioned, that's one of the government's initiative, government's priority as well. Honorable Minister, as IESL, we have 25,000 members, more than 25,000 members. We will give our best support to government initiatives to drive the needs of the country. Without taking much of your time, I would like to thank Honorable Deputy Minister, Digital Economy, Engineer Iranga Veeraratne, for gracing this occasion as the chief guest, despite your busy schedules and adding valuable insight to the gathering. Thank you, sir. Our guest of honor, Group CEO, Sri Lanka Telecom, Engineer Janaka Abesingha, we greatly appreciate your presence and continuous support given by Sri Lanka Telecom, including this event. Thank you. Our keynote speaker, Engineer Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, thank you for delivering an inspiring and insightful speech that has set a positive tone for the Symposium. Thank you, Professor. Chairman of the IESL Annual Research Symposium, Dean of the Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa, Engineer Professor Jagat Manatunga. Thank you for driving this whole exercise and shouldering the responsibility as the chairman of this research symposium. Thank you, Professor. Dear authors, reviewers, and presenters, your hard work and dedication are the foundation of this symposium. As Dushan mentioned, you are the seeds of innovation. Without you, there would not be a symposium today. Thank you and appreciate your hard work. We are grateful to our sponsors for their generous support, which has been instrumental in making this event successful. My heartfelt appreciation goes to our past presidents, council members, distinguished invitees, and fellow engineers for taking their time to be with us today. A special mention to Chair of the LPPC, Vice President, Engineer Mrs. Kamala Gunawardena, for her unwavering leadership and tireless efforts in bringing this event to success, and also members of LPPC. We also extend our gratitude to CEO and Manager, Library and Publicity, and the Secretariat staff for their hard work and effort in ensuring a smooth conduct of this event. Finally, our thanks goes to the management staff of this hotel for their warm hospitality and providing such a professional setting. Wishing all of you success and rewarding research symposium. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President-elect IESL, Engineer Kosala Kamprudenia. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up the formalities and would like to invite all of you to enjoy the refreshments, the morning refreshments being served in the foyer area. Now the time is 11 o'clock, 10:59 rather. So you have time till 11:20 to enjoy the morning refreshments and be back at your respective areas for your deliberations. Thank you very much, everyone, and wish you all the very best.